Welcome back to my channel. Okay, so we're continuing the story of Samuel from chapter 4. So I'll be reading from the Message Bible, the Vision, MSG. Whatever Samuel said was broadcast all through Israel. Israel went to war against the Philistines. Israel set up camp at Ebenezer, the Philistines at Aphek. The Philistines marched out to meet Israel. The fighting spread, and Israel was badly beaten. About 4,000 soldiers left dead on the field. When the troops returned to camp, Israel's elders said, "Why has God given us such a beating today by the Philistines? Let's go to Shiloh and get the chest of God's covenant. It will accompany us and save us from the grip of our enemies." So the army sent orders to Shiloh. They brought the chest of the covenant of God, the God of the angel armies, the cherubim enthroned God. Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, accompanied the chest of the covenant of God. When the chest of the covenant of God was brought into camp, everyone gave a huge cheer. The shouts were like thunderclaps, shaking the very ground. The Philistines heard the shouting and wondered what on earth was going on. What's all this shouting among the Hebrews? Then they learned that the chest of God had entered the Hebrew camp. The Philistines panicked. Their gods have come to their camp. Nothing like this has ever happened before. We are done for. Who can save us from the clutches of these super gods? These are the same gods who hit the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues out in the wilderness. On your feet, Philistines, courage. We are about to become slaves to the Hebrews, just as they have been slaves to us. Show what you are made of. Fight for your lives. And they did they ever fight. It turned into a riot. They thrust Israel so mercilessly that the Israelite soldiers ran for their lives, leaving behind an incredible 30,000 dead. As if that wasn't bad enough, the chest of God was taken. The two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were killed. Immediately, a Benjamite raced from the front lines back to Shiloh, shirt torn, face smeared with dirt. He entered the town. Eli was sitting on his stool beside the road, keeping vigil, for he was extremely worried about the chest of God. When the man went straight into town to tell the bad news, everyone wept. They were appalled. Eli heard the loud wailing and asked, "Why this uproar?" The messenger hurried over and reported. Eli was 98 years old then and blind. The man said to Eli, "I've just come from the front, barely escaping with my life." "And so my son," said Eli, "what happened?" The messenger answered, "Israel scattered before the Philistines. The defeat was catastrophic with enormous losses. Your sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died, and the chest of God was taken." At the words "chest of God," Eli fell backward off his stool, where he sat next to the gate. Eli was an old man and very fat. When he fell, he broke his neck and died. He had led Israel 40 years. His daughter-in-law, the wife of Phinehas, was pregnant and ready to deliver. When she heard that the chest of God had been taken and that both her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she dropped to her knees to give birth, going into hard labor. She was about to die. Her midwife said, "Don't be afraid. We've given birth to a son." But she gave no sign that she had. The chest of God gone, father-in-law dead, husband dead. She named the boy Ichabod. Glory is gone, saying, "Glory is exiled from Israel since the chest of God was taken." So that concludes the reading of 1 Samuel chapter 4 from the Message Bible. So the Ark of the Covenant was the representation of the throne of God in Israel, kept in the most holy place of the tabernacle, and the people never saw it. Only the high priest who saw the ark only once a year. It also represents the presence of God. So we realize that the Israelites were in the midst of war with the Philistines, and they were badly defeated, and some of their soldiers were dead. So the elders suggested that they should bring the Ark of the Covenant into their midst, and they would win the war. So they had put faith in the Ark of the Covenant. more than in the God of the covenant. They believe that once the covenant comes, everything will be sorted out. So, but it didn't go as according to their plan, because when the Ark of the Covenant came, the Israelites were excited and happy. They cheered, and they knew that once it's here, they'll battle, they've won. Victory is theirs. The Philistines realized that the Philistines acknowledged the spirituality of God and how powerful God is, because they even recall the history. They recall that, oh, God is so powerful that he could deliver the Israelites from Pharaoh, and he sent plagues so that he could deliver his people from Pharaoh. So the Philistines are aware, but they still encourage themselves to be courageous and do their best to fight. But it seems like the Israelites were relaxed when the Ark of the Covenant came. They put their faith more in the covenant than in the God of the covenant. They didn't put more confidence even to work harder to win the war. So I want to quote what a Bible scholar said. McLaren said, "There are plenty of Christians like these old elders who, when they find themselves beaten by the world and the devil, puzzle their brains to invent all sorts of reasons for God's smiting, except the true one, their own departure from Him. So instead of trusting the covenant, they should have been more concerned about the ark, more concerned about who served the ark, because the priests, Hophni and Phinehas, who were serving the ark, were priests who had forsaken God. And as we said, they desecrated God's name and desecrated the house of God, as they were sleeping with the women who came to the temple, and they were desecrating God's order of sacrifice. They didn't care about the order that was there. And then they were ripping off the people in the church too. So these are the kind of people who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, and they had said for them. So imagine the situation they are in. The priests who were having the people who have forsaken God. So all the noise and the excitement was nothing in that situation, because they were not rooted in God's truth. I want to quote from a Bible scholar, Click. He said that had they humbled themselves and prayed devoutly and fervently for success, they would have been heard and served. Their shouting proved both their vanity and irreligion. So there's some reasons why the Israelites were defeated. One was that the Philistines fought courageously, and then the Philistines fought courageously because they were really desperate. They had to try their best because they know that they got they're up against. It's not small, very powerful, but they encourage them to be courageous. The Israelites felt that the battle would be easy with the Ark of the Covenant there, so they didn't try as much as they should. And also, God didn't bless the Israelites' idea of the power of the Ark instead of the power of God. Sometimes the mistake that we make is not trying hard because we think that God is with us. So God did not feel obligated to deliver the Israelites just because they brought the Ark of the Covenant there. So it can't be someone like a genie. You should have sought God and seek God instead of thinking that once it comes into their midst, they've won already. And also, he said that when the Ark of the Covenant was captured, it was a really bad thing because the Israelites put their faith there. So it meant a big deal that it was taken. And so it's like the Israelites are putting more of their faith in God. judgment came as God had decreed that open your finance will be punished for desecrating the name of God, the temple of God, for raping of the people. So as God said, they will die on the same day. So it happened. Open finance died on the battlefield. The presence of God departed from the shore as they have been apostate. So my prayer is, Father, may we trust in you indefinitely and fully. And may we seek your face to know you and to live in the perfect will for our lives. May you help us to pray. May you help us to destroy any idols we've created in our lives. And may you help us not to even create certain idols in our life that may take your place. Father, help us to seek you as our true God and not other things that do not lead to you. Help us, God. Amen. Thank you for joining. Stay blessed.